Hello and welcome. What's the name of this channel again? There's our first one for real.
I don't remember. Let me look it up.
Welcome to this first video of our new YouTube channel, Rink-Side Hits and Clips. This is Zach Kingston.
And that's Noah Harney. And he's got some clips, and I got the hits.
That's correct.
And we are Rink-Side.
Well, a little bit of introduction. Zach, would you like to start us off?
Sure. I'm Zach. I currently work in the retail industry. I graduated from broadcasting in 2021 during the height of COVID. Wasn't able to find any job in the industry. It's a very competitive industry, and there's a lot of changes going on right now in the industry, just to say the least. But I'm still hopeful that that can happen, but I'm also exploring other options. But in the meantime, me and Noah would love to sit here and possibly entertain you with some hits and clips.
Absolutely.
From the good old hockey world.
Lawton, get Cole with the glove! Are you kidding me?
Indeed, we're going to be covering multiple leagues and teams.
Sure are.
As you know, we'll be covering CHL, OHL, WHL,
Yes.
QMJHL. We're going to cover the NHL, some AHL, maybe a little bit in depth of some OJHL. But what are we most known for, Zach?
PGHL.
PGHL,
Uxbridge Bruins.
And we'll send it to McLeish. McLeish walks in, shot, yeah! Your Bruins score at 10-17, 146 into that power play.
So Noah, I don't know about you, but have you been following the NHL preseason?
I have. What has been the most concerning for you?
It really, the most concerning thing for me overall, I gotta say, is the injuries. Like the
There's
injuries,
just too much.
There's too many on too many good players, and it will have an effect. I mean, yes, injuries are normal, but it's a bit of a downer when you see good players getting injured in points that ultimately have no meaning on what happens at the end of the season.
Absolutely. I mean, we've seen Drew Doughty out. We've seen
Yes.
Patrick Laine in his Montreal
Yes.
Canadiens debut. There's just been way too many injuries
Right.
to report. And that Patrick Laine one in particular took place against the Leafs in Montreal.
Against the Toronto Maple Leafs. From a vantage point looking down at the NHL, just looking at the whole league, it'll be quite interesting to see what takes place this year. Because I feel like for the first time this year, we could actually see a Canadian team like we did last year go all the way to the Cup final again.
No question about it. I am ready to get hurt again.
Yes.
But this year, I think there's a chance a Canadian team could honestly win the Cup. I really
think
do.
so too. I think so
I
too.
really do. I think Edmonton has a really great team, and I think they're going to show people that they are really capable of going back to the Stanley Cup Finals. It'll also be interesting to see what happens with the Vancouver Canucks.
It will be.
And the other interesting one for me will be to see what the Senators can do.
Yeah, they've been in talks more often than ever.
Yeah. They have a really nice young core of players, and I feel like they're at a point now where this year could be a pivotal year in that journey. I feel like they're going to make the playoffs this year. I got that feeling. It may just get in, but I feel like they're going to get in, and so it'll be interesting to see how their season goes.
It will be.
Montreal's an interesting one. I don't know what to expect from Montreal this season. I'm not sure. I'm not totally sure on where they're trying to go. Like good, they brought in Laine. Okay, so he's a great player, and he will join the team. But I'm just not totally sure. Are they trying to be a superstar team, or are they trying to be a physical team? Because they also have some physical presence. And then I'm just not totally sure if they've really got a solid like a solid goaltending options. I mean, they do have options on the goaltending side of things, but I'm just not sure if they found their goaltender that can take them all the way to the cup.
I agree. It's going to be interesting. The one that has surprised me a little bit most, because we've seen a lot of, multiple trades going down. Could we see a wake-up call from, maybe even a team like Buffalo?
Yes, Buffalo. And see, I always find that, at least when they're not doing so well, I always find Buffalo's like a team that's kind of overlooked. Like, nobody really thinks about Buffalo, but Buffalo's always there. And like the Senators, they have been really working towards building something.
They have been.
And now they just announced that they have a new captain in Rasmus Dahlin, which is quite an achievement. So congratulations on that.
Yes.
And they do have a great group of guys. It'll be really interesting to see what they can do there.
Absolutely.
One thing that I think could get really interesting, and it could affect the Atlantic Division, is what happens with Jeremy Swayman.
Oh, yes. There's been a lot of
talk there recently.
In Boston.
Does he stay? Does he go? Does another team try and grab him?
Yeah.
We know one thing's for sure. We know he can play, and he can play very well. Yes. And if he's on your team, you will be guaranteed you've got a good goaltender.
You do.
A really solid goaltender who can make a lot of block saves and stuff. So that we know for sure. I just don't know where he's going to go. And I don't totally, maybe you know more than I do, but I don't totally understand. Like, there was a press conference this week, and the general manager for the Bruins made some stuff. The Boston Bruins made some comments, and then the Swayman team responded a bit with that. But I don't totally understand where this kind of conflict, or should I say, like at odds, kind of originated from. I'm not sure if they're at odds over money or if it's something else. Like, I don't totally understand it. So maybe you want to explain that a bit.
Yeah, I did see a little bit of that press conference that the Boston Bruins did put out over Swayman, and there was some controversial talk in terms of, we want to keep him around because we know he's a very good, solid goaltender. He's very young for his age, and we know that he's capable of bringing a lot to this organization. The question is Swayman on board with the Bruins? Is this something that he feels he can accept on his end? And do we see Swayman back in a Bruins uniform?
Oh, okay. So it's not necessarily that they're at odds over the money totally. The Bruins are not sure if Swayman's on board, and Swayman's not sure if the Bruins and them are gonna, like, they're not sure if they're both on the same page, and they want to be both on the same page.
Yes.
Well, if it were me, if I'm the Bruins and I'm Swayman, if I want it to work, I'd be getting on the same page pretty quickly.
There's been a lot of speculation around that.
I'd be getting on that same page pretty quickly and making something happen.
Yes.
Though, if you're Jeremy Swayman, I guess you have options, right? Because you're looking for a contract, and maybe another team has a vision that more aligns with him, and maybe they're willing to pay more money. Maybe. I mean, one thing that I've come to notice is teams that have pressure to win and have a big piggy bank will pay money to get good players.
Yes.
Bankruptcy!
Now this is hard for me to say, but as a Leafs fan, but the Leafs have a record of getting their shovels out to dish out a whack of money.
Yes,
to get
they do.
Good players because they're available, and they'll pay them like anything just to get them from another team getting them.
Absolutely. And we've actually seen a few former Maple Leaf attendees on other teams. We actually see that Sheldon Keefe is the new coach for New Jersey. We saw that Samsonov is the new goaltender for Vegas.
Yes, that'll be interesting. Vegas has always been a team that they do pretty well every year. They usually make the playoffs. They not always go all the way, but so far since they've come into the league, there hasn't really been a disappointing season.
No.
Shea Theodore with a steal, walking in, trying to dangle into the middle. Scores! What a goal by Shea Theodore!
And I would argue that the Leafs were a little disappointed in how the Samsonov thing turned out. Not that they didn't work out between them, just that I don't think the Leafs got the performance that they were hoping to get out of Samsonov.
For sure.
Part of the reason I think that's why he went to Vegas versus sticking around, especially in the playoffs. Yes, he was good at times throughout the season, but then he had stretches where it was he needed some work. Let's put it that way. He did.
Yeah.
He struggled. There was a lot of struggle throughout this season, and I think by the end of it, especially in the playoffs, I think Wall was kind of the guy that Keefe had trust in to put in, but then he got injured, and so we'll see what happens in Vegas with Samsonov. I don't know. I think that he can be good, but he's been on a good team. The Leafs have a good team. It's just that it seems as though some teams, even if you're on a good team, you can hide some of the problems.
Yes.
And then there's other teams, it's tough to hide some of the problems.
Yes. I've been watching a lot of NHL broadcasts over the past couple weeks. I think this is a team that's going to surprise a lot of people, especially with acquiring Stamkos, the Nashville Predators.
Feels good.
Yes, the Nashville Predators. Gotta say, out of the summer, that was like the craziest thing that happened this summer when it came to hockey is the whole Stamkos thing. I never, not once, said, like, projected or thought that Stamkos would end up in Nashville. It just never came to my mind that Stamkos would end up in Nashville. No. I thought, okay, he's going back to Tampa or some team who wants to win now is going to say, we'll give you a whack ton of money for you to come and join our organization.
Well, I mean, we want to win a Stanley Cup. That's why we play the game, and I think some people are sometimes afraid to say that, and it heightens expectations. But at the end of the day, I've always been a big believer that you have to believe that you can do it in order to achieve it.
I was more seeing him maybe going to the Leafs, maybe going to the Oilers, or even like the Colorado Avalanche, or I saw there's a possibility he ends up in Vegas.
Yeah, that's true.
I wasn't, or even Dallas. I wasn't predicting Nashville.
No.
Though I think it'll be a great fit, and I'm really interested to see what the Predators can do with it, but it'll be interesting to see.
It will be.
I would like to see the Nashville Predators make another acquisition or two.
I would like to see that.
I think they could use some maybe a veteran presence, but also possibly some type of elite player. Doesn't necessarily have to be like a franchise player or like another Steven Stamkos, but an elite player who might be able to help them out in some way, shape, or form. Maybe like a second line guy or a defenseman who could play maybe like he could probably play 17 or 18 minutes a game.
For me, anyways, I've always been kind of the shooter on the power play setups, but I think, the more you get to watch, the more, maybe some of the playmaking will become evident in my game that maybe gets overshadowed by the shooting aspect.
Who has been the most surprising individual player for you this preseason that you've seen? It could be on any team.
Oh, surprising. Okay. Well, I gotta say, the most surprising guy for me, and yes, I might be a little biased, but it's very surprising, okay? Considering everything considered, and he is going to make the team. That's my prediction. Max Pacioretty. Has been surprising. He has. He was injured, and then there's talks he's coming to Leafs camp on a PTO, professional tryout. It'll be interesting to see what role the Leafs want to use him in and where he can fit into the lineup. I kind of think there could be some good chemistry between him and Nylander. I don't know why I get that vibe, but there could be some type of good vibe there. I could definitely see, like, if Nylander is going to be a center on a line now, because that's what they were trying, that you could put like a Pacioretty on there.
Yeah.
And it might just work out. It'll be interesting to see where they use him. Then my other question would be, does he go on the power play? Does he go on the penalty kill? I think if you watch the one preseason game that the Leafs had there, I think there is the opportunity for him to go on the power play. He's pretty effective out there. He kind of gives me a style of John Tavares.
That's true.
He has that style in a way, and he might be a good guy to be on your second unit power play. Somebody who can be in front of the net, like a net presence.
For sure.
Who would maybe tip or deflect, or even the puck comes towards the net, somebody who can get that puck and get it back moving again.
Totally.
And if there's a loose one in front, he might be able to jam it in for you.
For sure. I could see that. And not only that, but Max Pacioretty and Max Domi are two former Montreal Canadiens.
Yes. And so I could see a line where you have like Domi and maybe Nylander and Pacioretty all on a line together. That would be quite the combination. It would be an interesting combo. Or even just Domi and Pacioretty on a line with somebody else would be quite the combination.
Yeah.
We really saw Domi make a huge impact last year in the playoffs.
We did, didn't we?
So that'll be interesting. And then my only other thing with the Leafs that I would have to think about right now is what happens with Mitch Marner. Now, I know he's around, like he's not going anywhere this season. We know that. But where do they use him? How does Coach Craig Berube feel that he can use Mitch Marner effectively to get the most out of him? And how does he make it so that Mitch Marner, when the playoffs comes around, is not the guy that everybody's saying, well, he didn't really show up in the playoffs or perform? How can we make it so that Mitch Marner has like a defined role that he can succeed in, but also possibly see some improvement this year and really get him to a point where, I mean, he's already a phenomenal player.
Yes.
It's just, I think there is some situational things where I think he could be even more efficient and even exceed where he is now.
Yeah.
Particularly in the playoffs. I don't know what they got to do there, but there is something with Marner in the playoffs that they've got to kind of rework the whole, I don't know if it's mindset or if it's his position in the playoffs, just because the playoff hockey is different. Maybe he's got to move positions. He can kind of play a little bit all over. Like they do use him. They use him I've seen him as a winger. He's sometimes taking draws at the center. Sometimes he plays a little bit of defense. But I feel like they just got to find a really, a solid spot for Mitch Marner, how to make Mitch Marner come alive and really make him successful. Yeah. Not that he's not been elite, but I feel like there's some talent in there that's not getting full use.
No, that's correct. Do you think maybe dropping him down, I'm not saying dropping him down to the fourth line, but do you think even playing on the third or even second line might improve his style a little bit?
See, this is the other thing, and I think there has to be a decision. Now, maybe you can flip and flop and rotate, and we've seen that. I think they have to come to a decision, and it seems like they might have a decision because they're trying Nylander at center. And if so, do you put Marner or do you put Nylander?
Right.
The question that seems to be is that the question that I have is, if so, which one? Can Marner be a guy who you can rotate around? Like, can Marner play? Okay, so maybe he does play with Matthews, but then maybe you can also put him down with Nylander sometimes, and then maybe you could also put him down with Tavares sometimes. Yeah. So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see from that point of view what happens there. Because I feel like Matthews is okay. Matthews is going to be on the first line. He's going to score goals, and Nylander is going to score some goals. Mm-hmm. And he's going to come up big in the biggest moments, because that seems to be the Nylander thing these days. He always seems to come up big when it matters.
Yes.
If it were me, I'd always put Nylander on the first or second shift in the overtime because he'll probably score for you. I don't know why, but there's something with that.
Nylander's on the move. William Nylander busting in. Scores!
But then there's Marner, and it's like, where does Marner really excel? Where can we throw him in the lineup where he's going to get the best out of him? You're going to get the best out of him.
And Mitch Marner's in. Up against Panarin. Marner ducks in to the net. Scores! An incredible game winner for Mitch Marner.
And I feel like with this new coach Berube, we might see some different things that may be good for Mitch Marner and really make him excel.
For sure. Well, he is one of the former London Knights, aside from Max Domi, so you know it's a reason why he's still where he is today on this Leafs roster. Now, what is your opinion on the captaincy for Austin Matthews after Tavares handed it over to him? Do you think this was a good move? Do you think this could have been a little bit more time for him?
So at first, I was like, I don't know if he's ready. I don't know if he's ready. I mean, I knew it was coming. Like, I was like, Matthews will be the captain at some point, but I didn't know if he was ready. But then after I saw the whole transition and the whole thing, I think it was the right move. Maybe a little early, but I think it was the right move. I think John did a great job as the captain.
Yeah.
But I just, when you keep doing something over and over, and I like John, and I think he's a great addition to the team, but I feel like they had to change it up.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's what the fans wanted something different because we didn't get the result we were hoping for last year. And so an easy change is to say, well, we're going to make somebody new the captain. And see what happens.
Change the leader a bit.
Yeah, so yes, I think it was the right move. It may have been too early still, but I think long term it was the right move. And I think you can find a spot still on this team for John Tavares. And I think he's still a good asset to the team and great veteran presence in the lineup. But I do think it was the right move. And it'll be interesting to see if it has any difference on the team overall, particularly in moments where the team is struggling or in moments where the team is
in desperate need of some kind of change.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
But we want to thank you very much for tuning into our very first episode and tuning into this episode in particular.
Absolutely. Be sure to like and subscribe.
Don't forget to like and subscribe down below. Right down below.
Right here.
We'd love to see you again and hope to entertain you with our hockey commentary.
We're going to break it down per episode. They're going to be episode based, do you think?
Yes.
Yes. They'll be episode based with more to come.
We'll have all different episodes on all different topics and lots more to come.
Yes.
Please like, subscribe, and feel free to send us any comments. If you have, send us any, put any comments out there if you want us to talk about certain topics related to hockey.
Any ideas you might
have? Any
have?
ideas and topics related to hockey. And we look forward to seeing you in the next video. So thank you so much, guys.
Thank you, everyone.
You all take care. We'll see you again. And that's it for hockey at the rink.
At the Rink-Side.
Rink-Side Clips and Hits. We'll see you next time.
Hits
Thank you.
Clips.
And that's it for Rink-Side Hits and Clips. We'll see you next time. Take care, everybody.